We are ready to rumble. Well. Welcome to Monsta TV. My name is Fred, your friendly neighborhood alien. And today, we're going to have a look at whatever podcast, because Rachel Wilson was there and she was talking to all the girls. There was like 8 of them. And it's about feminism, obviously. And in this one, we have 2 little videos that we're going to look at. Rachel Wilson destroys feminists who think women have no rights, which is quite something in today's age. We're going to try and find some kind of philosophical reasoning to what is actually happening, okay? Now, I'm going to take this someplace else, but we're going to just simply watch this and let Rachel do her thing. I love Rachel Wilson. I love Andrew Wilson. I think that they do a great job at unpacking feminism, generally speaking, and try to, influence this whole thing about, well, men and women are being set up against each other. And we could be asking, why? What the hell is going on? If two people or if 2 things are meant to be together, it's man and woman. It is so obvious that these 2 belong together. All of nature tells us that in every way possible. Now, we don't have to take examples of nature where they go their separate ways again after. That's not really the point. The point is that they belong together. They have to come together. They have to, or they should, or that's the way it's meant to be. And especially for the human being, because there's more than making children. Of course, children are the whole part of it, but you should probably reason it the other way around, that because of the fact that we need each other, not just for survival and stuff like that, but actually need each other, generally speaking, that's why we even have children, so that we're kind of forced to come together, if you see what I'm saying, so that we might, through the experience, come to the conclusion that we belong together. But there's some forces that are kind of working against us all the time, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to have a look and see how these forces manifest themselves, and how women have been influenced, and they've been influenced by other women, by the way. When you have feminists come out and they say stuff like, well, yeah, society has told us to be a boss babe and I don't like that anymore. It's you women that have told each other that. It's not society. It's women telling women this, okay? So anyway, we're going to have a look at this, and we're going to get into this first video. So let's get into it. Go for it.
Still want to hear what women's rights were lacking.
Yeah, that's a good one. Thank you to whoever bought. Looks like somebody just bought a hoodie. Thank you.
What was it?
How we were saying that it's just the way that women are, like, it's accepted for them to be talked about and treated in society.
So what Rachel Wilson asked, what women's rights are we lacking? What rights? I'm just going to take it a tiny bit back so we can hear the answer that she's trying to give to this. Rachel is asking an actual, completely serious question. What rights are women lacking?
Women are, like, it's accepted for them to be talked about and treated in society is not fair. I don't think it was about, like, rights as much as it was the conversation and the verbiage and stuff that's being used by these politicians and people of power around women.
But a lot of people use that same verbiage about men. So Sabrina Carpenter, at her concert with thousands and thousands of people, telling the crowd to cheer along with her and call men useless.
Yeah. So, I mean, we can't go down that route because it's all about equality, isn't it? So there's no privileges when you're talking about equality. There's no such thing as privileges then, right?
Stupid! You know, that whole thing? That's okay.
I think that is so different than, like, being okay with, like, I feel like women are, let me think of my words. Like, when men are talking about, like, sexually assaulting women or, like, objectifying their bodies and stuff like that, I don't think that's a fair way to talk. But if they wanted to go and say, like, women suck, I hate women, that's one thing. But when it becomes something that could turn into a physical component, I think that's where, like, the line is.
Why is the premise, though?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what she's talking about. I don't think that men ever really talk about sexually assaulting women. By the way, you're going to have to separate the men that want to rape women and stuff like that from men in general. Do you understand? So you're going to have to separate all the people that you're letting into your country that come from complete degenerate country, like shithole countries. You're going to have to separate them from the general mass of men in your country that belong there. I think, where feminism, or let's put it this way, where equal rights have no place in their society whatsoever, if you import those men, don't put them in the same level with us, okay? Those people who belong in this country and who are the ones who gave you those rights. This is something that I really despise. And then you have these women saying, they want more rights in the sense of, so you want us to give them to you. This kind of stuff always proves that you're going to have the consent of men to be able to have any more rights or to be treated different. Because otherwise we just do what we want, just as you women now do. Okay?
That this is within the context of non-consent.
Because that's what I thought, that at least I don't know much about any of the protests, but at least back in 2016 when there was that Women's March, I thought that was because of Trump saying...
Really quick, I have something on this. Nathan, can you pull up my personal Instagram, Brian Atlas? And then there's a post that I did. I think it's like either the most recent or the one below it. It's a woman wearing a T-shirt, Lily Reinhardt. She has 24 million followers on Instagram. She's like a B-tier, C-tier actress. Do you have it, Nathan? On what? My personal ex. It should be, if you just scroll down, it should be like the most recent or second most recent post. I just want to get your guys' perspective on that. So click on the photo, actually. So she has a shirt that says, "I support a man's right to shut the fuck up." And then I wrote, if a male actor wore a shirt like this about women, he'd be dropped by his agency, talent agency, and banished from Hollywood, not to mention backlash from the public, journalists, media, etc. She's got 24 million followers on Instagram. She's not a nobody.
Yeah.
So what do you think of her T-shirt, first of all? Is that wrong?
Look at her smiling. Look at you can always see what's going on. Some of them don't think that this is quite okay, but like she wants to answer, and the one right beside her to the left, both of them are really grinning away. They think it's perfect. They think it's okay. Look, equal rights, okay? I mean, you want it to be treated just like men, so go for it. So we can do this too, okay? Now, I support a woman's right to shut the fuck up as well. All right, just to equalize this whole thing. So we're on the same level now.
I don't think it's wrong. I do agree that's like if a man wore that.
You don't?
I think everyone is entitled to their own opinion. She can think whatever.
Oh, I see. Well, isn't that just sweet? Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Well, then everybody's entitled to their own opinion about the woman's body. Every man is entitled to see the woman's body, whatever the bloody way he wants to, okay? We're fine? We're done? Great.
She wants, but I do
girls
agree.
do it, it's cute, but when boys do it, it's grapey.
See, that is what other people... If a man wore that shirt, I would be like, damn, that's kind of crazy, but society would probably be a lot more upset about that. But me personally, I'm not going to see a man wearing that shirt and throw an outrage about it.
That's not true. That's just not true. And this is the thing that I really, really despise about these feminists. They're liars through and through. They're liars down to the bone. Everything about feminism is a lie. Literally everything. The way it started, what they wanted, they lied all the way. Women never fought for to be able to vote. They never once did they fight for it. It's all a damn lie.
What is it that men are doing to women that you think requires marching?
I've never marched, but...
Okay, what do you think?
Again, that's just trying to get out of the subject. I mean, the question was just totally simple. Not why did you march, okay?
Think men are doing to us that requires us marching in the streets?
I feel like there's too many things to even name.
Okay, I mean, one.
Really, too many things to even name. That's a lot of bullshit. It's just, I want things. I want men to treat me in a certain way, and he's supposed to do that. Well, then we have the right to say that about women. Well, so let's just put it all on the table.
Yeah.
Okay.
List.
Okay.
List.
There's comments about women. 24/7.
Okay, but women make comments about men 24/7.
Okay,
We're
I
equal.
would say then
Here,
SA.
well, let's list it. So,
SA. Oh, for fuck's sake. No man has the right to sexually abuse a woman. Not one man, well, not in the West anyway. Not where she is right now and not where that she wants laws or, more rights. Is that allowed? We punish these fuckers. And you know who punishes them the least? Female judges. And judges who are just like, woke as fuck. Those people who actually, that she's talking to the people that she wants rights from, the people that she despises probably, which will be Republicans or conservatives or whatever, right? They are totally heavy shit about this kind of stuff. No SA is allowed, for fuck's sake.
Women
okay,
can do that too.
so like misogynistic comments.
Yes.
Okay, so they're SA.
Yes.
Okay,
Go ahead.
what else?
Just
Just what?
feel like not just sexist comments, but sexual comments,
So,
like very
like catcalling?
derogatory,
Oh,
Like,
okay.
just like overly derogatory.
But women do that
language.
too. Like a woman's very capable of essaying a man the same
Yeah.
way a man can do that to a woman. But
I've-
also, best believe I
I've
see
dealt
a
with
good
essay by
looking
men and
male
women.
walk
Hold on.
by.
Wait. Let her finish. Go ahead.
But you think women don't catcall either? I hang out with my girlfriends and I see a good-looking guy. I'm like, look at you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was cute. She didn't want to actually say it. Is that cool? Because it would be a little too embarrassing. Yeah, damn it. There you go.
So girls do it too. Maybe men are more open and more doggish, if you want to say that. And I
Direct.
can't agree to that, but everything you're stating goes both ways.
It sounds like policing speech is what I hear.
I do agree that it goes both ways. I think there's just major differences. I think that men do it a lot more, and
Or is it just not as reported?
no men? But even in experiences
Because
of
men
me
don't speak up often.
And by the way, on social media, they did a couple of studies. And social media is great for doing studies, obviously, because the data is all there. And we're talking about millions of people, right? That the people who have the most disgusting and mean comments for women are women, by far. Not men to women, but women to women. Isn't that just shocking?
And
They don't. Men are not going to go and report it if a woman gives a man like a shoulder rub he didn't ask for. He's not going to go to HR and report it.
I don't
difference
believe in
there
that
is-
either. I
is
do
what?
not think that a man should be touched in a way that he does not want to be touched. I do not think that consent goes both ways. I completely agree with that.
Have you guys ever seen there's like a video compilation that's always circulating online of Justin Bieber when he was young, like before he turned 18, all the different actresses
Yes. Oh,
this
and
is
people
good. This is
touching
good.
him, making sexual
It was
comments
gross.
about him. Yeah, like it happens quite a bit to
And
men
you-
too, and we just give women a pass on
I
it.
feel like
Well, and
You
it
know what's
depends
actually
if
really interesting?
And remember performers like Tom Jones, Elvis Presley, the Stones, I think, and the Beatles. Women were throwing their damn knickers on stage, okay? They took off their knickers and threw their damn knickers on stage. What is that? And we're supposed to, and is he supposed to think, oh wow, I love all these knickers? Don't you think that he might even think that's disgusting? And bras, obviously. Tom Jones. I mean, come on.
About that, Rachel, is that while there, and many of these clips have kind of resurfaced more recently, in the moment there was pretty much no backlash. But if you reverse the genders, if you do a gender swap, I mean, these people, if it was a man doing that to a girl,
Oh my gosh. Be
they
in jail.
career over. But there's really not, when you gender swap these situations, there's not the outrage, there's not the losing the job, there's not the getting dropped from talent agency thing. It's like acceptable to be anti-male or say negative things about men, et cetera, et cetera. So
well, and
I
you
will
were saying
say, no, you can talk.
so in your HR example with somebody getting the shoulder rub, Depends on if she thinks he's attractive or not.
Yes.
If a woman,
it's a hot guy,
if a
then
woman
it's
that is
fine.
creeped out by a guy because he's gross or a loser or unattractive to her, she's gonna be like, oh, sexual harassment. But if it's somebody that she's like, oh, let's go on a date, you know,
Yeah, if
give
it's
me
the
more of
boss
that.
and he's rich and hot, she might let him grab her by the pussy even.
That's good. That is cool. That was Donald Trump, by the way.
Oh, we do have a TTS coming in here. Let me just let this through from Cha. One moment here. It's coming in right now. Thank you, Cha. Appreciate it. Thank you guys who bought the merch. Thank you, Cha.
Your XD donated $200. The fact that a girl who does findom as a job while talking about how she participates in protests is a vile irony. You're a monster and you're preying on vulnerable men who desperately need help.
You have a response to that? And then we have one more chat coming in.
How does they know he needs help? Like, why are they just assuming all
That's not normal.
But it is for some people. Some people have some.
It's
It's an
dysfunctional.
addiction. It is like gambling or it's like addictive
Well, then
drinking.
why is that her
It's
problem?
a drug. That
Yeah,
is
why is
true.
it
She's
my problem?
enabling it.
If a man was enabling that kind of if a man had a girlfriend who was a little not all there upstairs, right? She has some mental problems, and he's, telling her to pretend to be a dog and sleep in a dog bed at the end of the bed, and telling her she's a coat rack and hanging her coats on him or his coats on her and things like that. You'd be outraged. You'd say he's abusing her. That's awful.
I wouldn't say that. I think as long as it's two consenting adults, I don't think it's any different. I think someone's mental health, if they like.
Oh yeah, but you can force consent, you can manipulate consent, right? And you'd be quick, very quick, to pretend or to say that a man manipulated her into this because it's so gross. Okay? Dominatrix, right? That's what the dom was there, the findom.
Obviously, if they have a mental health issue, family around them is going to know. They're going to try getting them help. That's not on her.
So if women consent to being treated badly by a man, you're
fine.
cool with it.
Yeah, if they're sitting like BDSM, if a woman's sitting there saying, "I want you to like smack the shit out of me while we're having,"
No, that's not the way it works, because that's not being dominated. You give your consent, and then you have these triggers to stop whatever is going on.
sex, that is consent, and that's fine. I don't think there's any issue with that as long as it's
People
two
have
consenting
kinks. People have kinks. Yeah.
But are there ever instances where even if consent exists, does it go beyond consent?
These people that are in these relationships like that have like fin-dom relationships or anything like that, they have safe words. Like there's a lot of communication. I've never been in one, never known anyone in one, but from my understanding there is consent and many conversations and safe words, and it's just like.
I'd like to speak on that because I actually did findom for like 3 months, and
Okay, well, look, it depends. Wouldn't you say that if there is some sort of mental illness behind it, imagine we could prove that. And, I mean, I'm totally convinced that there is. That there is some sort of mental illness behind it. There's something wrong with a person if you want to be dominated in that way, that if you want to be humiliated in that way. Right, they say, oh, well, you know what, a lot of rich people, a lot of rich men, they want to be dominated like that, dominatrix kind of stuff. Well, so what? There's still something not quite right with you, okay? If that's the case. It's not like, well, it's an outlet for this and that and the other. Look, at what point, what line has to be crossed before we say, even if that person gives you consent to do that to them? We had one case that went around on the internet there a couple of years ago from a person that wanted to be eaten alive. Now, what do you think about that? He found somebody who would do it. Okay? It went wrong. It went badly wrong. And I think, on the way through that whole process, he didn't want it anymore or whatever happened. It was a couple of years back. But would you then say, well, even if he gave consent, it is not right, it's not good? What do you think? I mean, is there a boundary where we say, look, we can't go across that boundary even if there is consent? And with this kind of stuff, it is kind of strange, isn't it? Even if.
I don't know your experience, but in my experience, it felt that I had to really discern things, and I ended up leaving because in every experience it became unethical, and there were like men who would, hey, I'm gonna give you my kids' graduation money, and other women online would accept that and think, well, that's my job and that's okay. But that's the responsibility of you as the business owner. Like if you go, like a lot of people don't like McDonald's because of how McDonald's, what they put in their food and all that. So in that same way, right, it is up to that business owner. Like, you wouldn't go to McDonald's if you didn't think that their policies are great. You wouldn't go there, right? And they are feeding off sick people.
Might I ask that you raise a good point? Might I ask? I guess the question was: does anything go beyond consent? So, for example, even within the purview of BDSM, are there some acts that you feel like, even if you give consent and even if you are of sound mind, that's too far? Like, for example, sometimes there's instances where, you know, you'd agree that BDSM typically can involve physical pain.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, what
part
about
of it?
what about this scars? Something that will leave a scar. Can you consent to that?
I think if you're a child, no. But if you're an adult
Well,
you're
hold on. Yes, we're talking about adults.
Oh God.
But so, how far does that go, though? So, what if a scar, maybe not so bad. What about breaking a pinky bone? Can you consent to that? That wouldn't. It would heal.
I've never thought of it that really.
But let's say a woman did have a kink where she wants just her pinky bone to be broken.
And I tell you what, like if a man is asked to do that, you better not do it, mate. Okay? If you're a man who is being asked to do that, you better not. That's a trap. I can fucking guarantee it. It's a trap. And it mightn't be a trap right now, but she can use that later, no problem whatsoever. Because a woman can just lie and you're in trouble. Don't do shit like that. Don't do any of that. Some women want to be choked. A lot of women want to be choked. Don't do it, man. Don't do it.
Can she consent to that?
I mean, I guess. I don't really know, but I think so. I think she could consent to that.
How far can we go? The whole hand smashed with a hammer.
I think this is really cool the way he does that. Because, like, look, let's just go another step, and another step, and another step. Is there a thing where you say, okay, that's it. Done. No way, you can't go beyond this point. Is there? Because this is the weirdness about wokeness, and about all this leftist crap, this complete degenerate bullshit, is that they don't know where the damn boundary is. And it's like weird as hell that it's the one who you give compassion to is the one hurting other people, not the one being hurt. It's not the women being raped. They only use that for their statistics. Sometimes you wonder, do they let all of these damn rapists into the country because don't even bother the crap. The statistics are clear. Do they let all these rapists into the country, like into England and into Europe and into America, so that the statistics go up, so they can say, oh, men rape women? Is that the reason? Because otherwise it doesn't make any sense. You want to protect women, so why would you? Why would you let these people in? And why wouldn't you judge them to the fullest extent of the law?
Now, maybe she has it. It could cause permanent damage. Maybe not. But can she consent to it?
I'm like I said, never been in a relationship like that. Never really put much mind to BDSM relationships. But I think if something is being done that could possibly cause irreparable damage, then that's where the line should be drawn.
What about a scar, though?
I mean,
but some people want to be cut.
That's what I'm saying. And that's not like a physical, that's not going to mess up their life if they have a scar on them. Like if they're
look. What are you talking about? And in one situation, you talk about, how damaged women can be because of a damn comment online. And now you're saying that, cutting somebody, that doesn't leave any irreparable damage. What the hell is wrong with you? There is already some damage going on. There's already something going on in their brain. Something that's not right with their psyche. Because otherwise you wouldn't let somebody hurt you. What the fuck are you on about? These people are so contradictory. It's just disgusting. I mean, it really gets to me sometimes. Like just a second ago, just a couple of minutes ago, you were talking about how damaging it is. Comments or people whistling or catcalling. For fuck's sake.
Their hand's broken and they can't use their hand anymore, then that's going to mess up their life.
Well, if she drains their wallets to the point where they have to go through bankruptcy proceedings, that could have long-standing financial consequences to them.
I'm asking her, has that like ever happened? Like, do you know
She
of any,
probably
any
has
scenarios?
that shit on her page.
I know, but do you know of any scenarios where someone has gone into bankruptcy or has gone into
That's
something
part
like
of
that?
the kink.
So
She gave an
wanna be
example.
raw.
What was the example you gave where it was like
They want to give the graduation money from their kids. These men will go to the, like, it's an addiction. They will do absolutely everything, and they won't, some guys won't even eat. Oh, I'll just send you like my lunch dinner money, and I'm sure like you've had that, and that I feel like is your responsibility to see, like, you need help. Like if somebody was gonna, you brought up the example of physical pain. Like if somebody was like, hey, I'm willing to be cut, can you like cut me or break my pinky bone? I'd be like, let's send you to the doctor. Let's dive deeper into that.
I have definitely denied requests. And also I've definitely ignored a lot of messages.
I do have to let this chat come through, but we'll come right back to it. We have Desert
Judge donated
Jorge.
$200.
Thank you, Desert Jorge.
Okay, let's cut through the nonsense. When a man does something bad, it's all men are bad. When a woman does something bad, it's woman empowerment and all good. This is actual hypocrisy on display.
Yeah, and Rachel brought up something, Desert Jorge, thank you for that. With Sabrina Carpenter, Rachel brought up that is a really good topic because it goes beyond just at the concert. She's got that, what's the title of the song?
Man-child.
Man-child.
Yeah.
So yeah, she is alluding to men being stupid and useless and all this sort of thing. But even going a little bit deeper, in many of her music videos, not just that video, she like physically assaults and even kills men. Yeah. And it is like getting to a deeper level of analysis where it's like
pretty pathological.
She is kind of I think there's a bit more depth there in terms of the misandrist messaging that she's putting out.
It dehumanizes men.
What about
on a
rap
very
music?
large scale to young
What about
girls who
rap?
are really impressionable.
Yeah, well, also, we'll get to that, but really quick with Sabrina Carpenter.
fair, yeah.
Sabrina Carpenter also at an award ceremony, because I think, look, you're going to bring up rap, and I think...
Yeah, okay. But like in rap videos, what's going on in rap videos? Women dancing, showing their butt. I don't know any movie, and I have loads of movies. I don't know any movie where like the whole intention of the movie is to kill women and to put women down. I have no idea what movie you would take. I have them all here right beside me. Well, I mean, loads of them anyway. I have something like 1,000 movies here. Okay, growing. And I don't know of any movie. In fact, most movies, when you have male heroes, it's all about saving women, protecting women, and children, obviously. So, what the hell are you talking about? Stupid grin on her face. It's just, God damn it.
In the artistic expression itself, I don't think you can still make a criticism, but there's more leeway. But she was doing, well, hold on. Well, I think it's fair for in both directions that in artistic expression, there's a bit more leeway given than like, but she was giving a speech and an award ceremony, and she said that the key essentially, I'm not verbatim here, the key to writing a hit song is you should call all men stupid in your song. That's basically what she said, right? Well, she did in fact say that, but there's some surrounding context that's irrelevant. And it's like, that's going a little further into like anti-male sentiment, but...
I'm just begging all the men on Sabrina Carpenter's tour who handle her stage, her lights, her audio, all of you men that put together her whole show, when she starts doing that song, just shut it all down.
There you go.
Just shut it all off and go, what now?
What
oh,
now?
all the men are useless and stupid, or would you like us to turn your concert back on?
Wait, really quick, let me just do a few shout outs.
Yeah.
Christine.
There we go. That was interesting. We have another video here where we go into Rachel Wilson presses two feminists who hate men. And the reason why we're going into this, obviously, is because there's something happening, right? There's something missing in women. What is going on here? And usually we described women and we feel for women and we've said it's the more empathic and has more feelings and is more sympathetic and, has more compassion and so on. And then you find it's like there's something really weird in those women. The way they get around and want to get around, having to say straight out, they hate men. And that they're actually full of hatred. And they always talk about hatred from men to women as if that's the thing. It's really strange. There's something fucking weird going on in this whole area of feminism. Something that it's going to pop. This balloon is going to pop at some stage. And people are just going to say it out straight into their faces. And I think it's already happening. But they don't want to see it. They don't want to, they don't want to engage. It's just too much for them. By the way, Whatever Podcast is quite a good podcast when it comes to these topics, because you find out through all the women that go there, because there's always quite a lot of women. Like in this case, it's like 9 women, isn't it? Like 4 on this side, another 4, and Rachel, that's 9 women. Okay? And it's not always against each other. It's like, because not all of these women are feminists, obviously, but it's like just to get a feeling for how women are, generally speaking, because of course there's a lot of women going there. These podcasts are really long, but the clips are awesome to take a look at them. And so we're just going to go into the next one and just see what happens there and get more of this. Here we go.
Fine. So again, please, let's get back to this. Show me any evidence of widespread oppression of women by men other than I just feel like women just feel unsafe. Okay.
Oppression of women. Now, you have 2 possibilities that what you can do here as a feminist. You could talk about other countries, right? Far East countries, Muslim countries, for instance. But that's not here, right? Or now you're just going to use the typical thing. Men don't give us everything we want. That's more or less what's going down here. And that makes me oppressed.
You feeling unsafe isn't proof of anything. You might feel unsafe and be perfectly safe. I can't do anything about your emotional state.
I look at what I've gone through and what my friends have gone through and stuff that men have done to them, and I just think of like that can't, and it happens to everyone. That's why.
What men? I want to know what men. I want to know who they are, where they come from, and their race. I'm telling you, those things make a huge difference in every way.
Like those protests, those people that are out at those protests most likely have had something happen to them. And I feel like that gathering of people shows something.
But that's anecdotal. And there's, how many men do you think out there could talk about their experiences with women, getting baby trapped by women, getting their kids taken and stolen from them in family court when they didn't do anything wrong?
And then have to pay for the damn thing even. Not the damn children, not the damn thing, but the trap.
Woman cheating on them and leaving and taking the kids, a woman draining the bank account and taking off and leaving.
She doesn't give a shit. Look at her face. She doesn't give a damn.
Women actually assaulting them and being domestic abusers, and they can't even get police or anybody to really take them seriously.
You guys believe that men are stronger than women. Why aren't they just stopping them? And
because I'll tell you why. What do you think happens what do you think the risk is for a man if there's a woman that he lives with and she's getting drunk and throwing things at him and coming at him with sharp objects and things day after day, and he finally, in order to protect himself, I know a guy that this happened to, a drunk woman coming at him with a chunk of glass, and finally he threw her off of him. She went to the police and said, he threw me against the wall, I have a bruise, he beat me up. The guy went to jail.
I would just love to see a statistic that says women are more prone. Didn't you say that 70% of the cases are domestic violence? I would love to see that statistic.
My father was stabbed by a woman and almost died.
Well, we can have Brian pull it up. Again, I mean, if you listen, I do this for a living. I don't say these things unless I know exactly where to pull the data from. I posted it to my ex, so if Brian wants to pull up my ex.
But also, it depends.
And FBI statistics. These are very easy things to look up. But
we know for a fact that when she sees the study, that it's not going to bother her in the least. You know?
Yes, it's.
Yeah, this is the way the world is. As like crappy as shitty as that sounds, the world is the way that it is. I don't think that you have every right to do what you want, but I don't think protesting is going to change anything. I don't think that changing
We have the data.
Oh, word.
Just the window tab. You want to read this?
2001. That was
I
over
can't.
20 years ago.
Okay,
So
the
was
stuff
Trump's
I posted
statement.
to X. No, the stuff I posted to X was much more recent. I think it's actually gotten worse.
Yeah. You see, it doesn't help you to say that was a long time ago, because the relationship between men and women haven't really changed. We've always given women a privilege, always, because she's the weaker. She's the weaker sex, that's why they've always gotten the privilege. Like, what the hell are you talking about?
Since this, but I can't see it good enough to read it. Okay. If you go to my, I don't know if you can dig it up in my X though. But yes, I don't know why you're so doubtful of my statistics,
Because
but
I just find
because
that
you
very
just
hard to believe.
Why? Here's the
I haven't-
reason.
I've
You want to
seen-
know why? And again, you're doing a woman thing. You're going, this is my experience. This is reality. This is my experience. And I'm telling you, there's a whole world out there that is not your experience. I've had things happen to me that most people never have happened to them. I don't assume that's everyone's universal experience. That's not very smart.
I feel like I've heard more often than not in my personal life.
But that's just what Rachel said. That it doesn't matter what you've heard more often in your personal life. That's not going to tell you what happens in the world, you moron. But if you need it, then, and then there's a study of feminists, and they actually, their studies are so fucking ridiculous that you can never repeat them, right? By right, you should be able to repeat those studies, and you should be able to get the same results for them. But that never happens, very seldom. And these statistics that they usually pull, like the Wilsons, are like huge statistics. Like they have sources. Like, for instance, social media platform. Who has the most, hate speech, as they call it, hate speech for women on a social media platform, and it's women to women. Now, is she going to believe it? Well, I don't believe that. Amazing. So it is. So this is all about what you want to believe. Well, then we don't need this discussion. You're just a bitch.
What does that have to do with anything?
I think
you understand that your personal, let me just say this again,
I do.
your personal experience does not have any bearing on the population at large and what the statistics are. You understand
Yes,
that, right?
I do completely understand
Then
that, but
let's
I'm
not
just-
talk about that.
Okay.
And then, like, in your personal experience, you should, in the moment, am I feeling this because society tells me I should? Or is this something that, like, I've had experience with this? Like, I remember growing up, probably you've seen, you're a woman on the elevator and a black man gets on and you hold your purse more tightly. Like, for a while, I was an Uber driver and, I picked up some Muslim people at a mall.
Oh, I see. You see, you can't just put men in the same damn bucket.
And I'm like, if I was going by what the world says, I should feel like, oh my gosh, they're going to do something
I'm
horrible
not
to me
saying,
because
I'm not saying
I'm a
even
woman.
that
But
women shouldn't be cautious. I'm not
No,
saying
I
that
know,
there
but,
aren't
like-
men that do bad things.
But there was a reason for why she said that, right? And there's a good reason for why she said that.
I'm asking them specifically. It's a very specific question, and they've given me nothing. What rights do women not have? What evidence is there of widespread oppression of women by men? Like, how are you oppressed by men that you need to march in the streets?
We just keep saying the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
Yes, because you've never given an actual answer. You talk about stuff, about feelings, things that men have to endure just as yourself. We all have to endure the world. In the end of it all, you're going to end up having complaints about how the universe is structured, and that women are women and that men are men. Men are not responsible for that, you moron. Give her a reason. Rights. You're talking about rights. Where is the oppression? And where is the oppression by men?
And
It's the same thing over and over.
you know what a defeater is? So if you say we're having a debate, you say something, I say something that cancels out your something and makes it null and void and kills your point, then you have to...
We were saying our point over and over. And
but your point is just, I feel like. That's not evidence of anything. That's not a logical argument in favor of anything. It's not proof of anything. Like there has to be a good reason. Do you know what justification is?
Absolutely.
So if you believe something and you have a belief, you should have a good justified reason to hold that belief.
Wow. I mean, she's got an amazing husband, right? They've been together for a long time. She's become a very logical woman. And it's wonderful to hear that kind of thing. And she's a really beautiful woman. She's awesome, this woman.
Otherwise, it could be a delusion. And we don't want to live and operate off of delusions. I think we'd all agree that's not smart. So we're trying to see if you're feeling that women are still generally oppressed by men is accurate. So I'm asking for evidence of your claim that women are oppressed by men.
I have no evidence. I have never went to college.
Wow.
I'm just basing off of
I also
my
never
personal
went to college.
But I do this for a living. I'm literally...
No, look. She just told you, if you have a feeling, fine. But if you want to say that the world is like X, like Y, then you should have some sort of justification for it. Some sort of proof or some sort of study or anything at all that gives that thing... Because otherwise, you would, go to risk. You would directly go into delusion. What if you have problems and you don't trust men anymore and you don't ask men for help? Like, why? Why wouldn't you ask men for help? I mean, you've really fucked this stuff up to such a degree that men don't really feel like helping women at all anymore. But it's your own damn fault. You women have created a problem for yourself. Just because you got the opportunity to be arrogant, to be entitled, vain, above the clouds. You call yourself goddesses. Like what kind of damn entitlement must you have and feel to call yourself that? Lose some weight.
You're just some random person that works an everyday job.
That's not an everyday job, you moron.
The whole point of this show is to take normal, average, everyday women, which I was up until 2 years ago. So it's not like I've been famous in my whole life or something like that. And I'm still a very D-tier internet niche celebrity. It's not that big. But the whole point is to talk to I'm really not a big deal.
No big deal.
We're trying to talk to normal people, normal women, and explore their worldview and what they think and why they think it. And the rub with most women is the why they think it part. They're very sure what they think. They have very strong opinions. But when you say, why do you have that opinion? What's your what's your justification for holding that belief? They usually just kind of go, or they give you reasons that are not rational or not logical or don't hold weight when you examine them. So that's what we're trying to do.
And your example of women should carry mace or whatnot if they're walking alone at night.
I said they might feel the need to. I never said they should.
But that would be more justified if you're walking in a place where there is a lot of attacks on women.
Look, I am completely of the opinion that women should have some sort of protection with them, especially in the cities, obviously. Totally of the opinion of that. And I hated that in certain countries you're not allowed to carry that around with you. Of course there should be. Punishment for using it if you're not under attack. Okay? If somebody insults you or something like that, you just dig it because, come on, man. You're gonna have to be able to deal with insults in this world. Come the fuck on.
If that's not something, I don't imagine this is a dangerous place here in Santa Barbara.
Still, why shouldn't a woman have some sort of protection? I think that's totally okay. And I don't know if you could really say to a woman, you're not allowed to have a kind of protection with you. But as I said, just like with guns, if you shoot somebody because they insulted you, you're going to jail for life, okay? That's not how this works. It's about protecting your life.
Santa Barbara's relatively safe, but
Yeah.
I mean, actually the statistics show that actually men are more likely to be victim of violent crime.
True. And the point as well is, men don't say that women shouldn't have mace or that they shouldn't have some sort of protection with them. Men don't say that. This was a woman saying that. Men don't want to take away protection from women at all. Because you see, if you have a woman of your own, you want her to be protected. Because you can't be there all the time to protect her.
Yes, that's what I was telling them.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that because of just, game stuff.
I think you were trying to get some more stuff out of the list of the rights that women supposedly
I'm still waiting for the rights that we need or evidence of the widespread oppression of women.
Can I ask a question?
Wouldn't this be so easy if there was really actually oppression here in the West, and there really was rights that women didn't have that men have? Wouldn't it be just so easy to just put them on the table? Like, why would she be there and asking this for hours? Because I think the whole damn show was about this. And these shows go on for 6 hours and more.
Quickly, can you give me an example of how you've been oppressed by a man specifically in your life? And why was it oppressing?
Let me think.
She's going to have to invent. She's going to have to invent it. And all the women there know it already. Look at their faces. They already know it. Wow. You know, and I bet that whatever story she comes up with now isn't oppression. Well, I don't know because I haven't seen the video yet.
You should have a lot. You just told us your whole...
Come the fuck on. You can't be serious. You can't be serious. That's the reason why she was laughing. Oh, man. Look at their faces.
I have very strong views on it.
Whole life experience is just men endlessly oppressing you. And then we're like, give us an example.
I never said it was
like,
men endlessly oppressing me.
No, of course, you never said those exact words, but that's the conclusion, wasn't it? That was a good question from that woman. Because it was a risky question. Because, of course, like in her own experience, something like that could have happened. You know, of course. But like what one man does doesn't speak for the whole mass of men. And men want much more harder sentences and for rapists and for murderers and for all of this. They want much harder punishment for those people than women do. It's quite strange when you think as a man, okay, let's do this fairly, let's do this appropriately, okay? And then all of a sudden, who stands in your way is women. And they start protesting that you want to, whatever, put a child murderer to death. Stop the oppression. Like what? He murdered children. Of course you want to be 100% sure, of course, all right? Otherwise you give them life or whatever the hell. I mean, the death sentence should be there. Oh, you have them protesting that for all sorts of damn reasons. It's quite impressive.
Your whole experience, just like your whole experience.
You said a lot of your statements were based off of your experience as well as your friends, which means based off of your experience, what have you experienced?
There we go.
Amazing. Perfect. Wow. Harvard study, 2007, 70% of non-reciprocal not dumb violence, not dominatrix or anything like that. That's domestic violence. Is initiated by women against men. 70%. Wow.
There's the source.
2007. That is still like almost 20 years ago.
Why are you talking about? Who gives a damn? Don't you understand that you're contradicting yourself once again? By right, it should be the further we go back, the more women should be oppressed. Because women are fighting for their rights all the time, and it gets better and better for women. Don't you understand? That this can't be possible. From a feminist point of view, 70% of domestic violence cannot be initiated by women. It cannot be true because women are the more non-aggressive part of the gender spectrum. Do you understand? Like, how is it that you never think? You're just looking for a loophole. But this is nonsense, what you're putting on the table. It doesn't matter. The further back, the worse it should be.
But I mean,
I can go Google more updated stats.
Really quick on the date here. It would occur to me that society has been moving away from misogyny.
Yeah.
So it almost seems like if the data 10, 20, 30 years ago indicated that the rates were like this then, I think my understanding is there's violence against women trending downwards, certain crimes trending downwards towards women. So even though the studies are from 10, 20, 30 years ago or whatever, I mean, 2007, that's about 20 years ago, I don't think that's actually
an argument.
Contrary here.
You know what else you guys should consider? The most violent domestic relationships are lesbian relationships.
Yes.
I have friends that are lesbians, and I've seen that myself.
And the least violent relationships are gay relationships, like men with men. So that's weird, isn't it?
Actually, that's a really good point you raised, Rachel. My understanding is when you look at not just lesbian relationships, but you compare homosexual versus heterosexual relationships, so including gay men, you have two men, and I assume your position is men violent. You have two men in a relationship. Those relationships, actually, interestingly enough, are the least violent when there's two men in the relationship. Then you have heterosexual relationships in the middle, and then the most violent relationships are when you have two women.
Now, that should tell you something if you're a logical thinking person. This should be like a very logical spectrum of violence and where it actually takes place the most. Women feel entitled to be able to hit and injure a man because he should be a man kind of thing than the other way around, even though men are stronger than women. This is crazy shit.
And
how would you explain that?
Well, I can explain it if they don't know. So women, there's a couple things going on. Men growing up have to do rough and tumble play with each other. They play sports, they play contact sports. They very quickly learn how easy it is to hurt somebody, and that they're strong and that they can hurt somebody, and that they've got to get that under control.
And they got to get it under control.
Women don't really experience that as much, so that's one thing. The second thing is, this is actually proof of women being so safe and comfortable with men that they feel totally safe attacking them in domestic situations. The woman is not really scared he's going to do anything back. She knows she's legally probably going to get away with it, and that he really doesn't want to hurt her, and because he could. So,
oh, damn, could he? It's not just that he could hurt her a little bit. Not just a little bit. He could. I mean, sometimes you see videos like that where oh man, it turns your gut. Where a man goes crazy on a woman, and it's just, there's nothing she can do. There's just nothing she can do. And it's like, oh my God. If men let loose on women, there is not a chance in hell. Why do you think that in Muslim countries, for instance, women can be oppressed? Because men are just stronger. If men wanted to oppress women, you see, if you accepted those things, then you would know what type of privilege you women have in the West. If you understood how much stronger men are. And I mean, you can just watch it and look at the statistics, how much more they can lift. Look at the Olympics, compare them to one another, and then you understand how much stronger men are. And then maybe, wow, actually, women didn't fight for their rights. Men gave them to us. Out of the goodness of their heart. I mean, generally speaking, that wasn't the reason, by the way, that stuff happened at that time. But like, the reason why you have those rights is because men let you have them. Think about this Leah Thompson thing. Remember the swimmer? The swimmer that all of a sudden made headlines and so on, Leah Thompson. And that guy was like, ranked on place 200 something. I think it was 240 something. Okay? That's where he was placed in the men's sports, men's swimming, right? And he is breaking records all over the place in the women's swimming contests, competitions. Can you imagine what difference that is? If a woman had to compete with a man on top level, best woman with best men, he would just destroy her. Like, completely destroy her. It is absolutely crazy how much stronger men are than women in almost everything. And I say almost because there's tiny little things here in the Olympics where you might have, I don't even know what. Like, I don't even know what. I mean, think about it. That even the world's most famous cooking, like totally, chefs, are men. They're not even in those things, in those, ventures, are women the better. The whole problem is that feminism has started this comparison from women against men. And then now obviously we're going to have to compare them because they brought it up. No men wanted that. We men didn't want all these comparisons because we want to get on with women, of course. Damn it. Sometimes, that kind of stupidity can really get on your nerves. Damn.
Women must feel very comfortable attacking men in romantic relationships if the rate is 70% of them, of the aggressors, are women. So
the initiators, yes.
I don't know if I buy this narrative that women are just so terrified of men because they're so violent towards us and they're just waiting for any chance to.
That's not what I'm trying to. I think everyone should not hit each other. No one should be shooting
each other. I agree. I think we all
overall,
agree.
I just want
violence bad.
Unity. I don't think.
Yeah, violence
I don't think
bad.
It matters who's.
So it sounds like we changed your mind.
I never was on the standpoint of men are abusive. Men are bad.
Yes, you were.
I was on the standpoint of. Men are, I thought, if you're saying that statistic is correct, which I'll believe you if that is, I'll look it up later when I'm home and see if there's anything more current, but I'm just saying that, violence overall is bad. It doesn't matter.
I'm going to the restroom and I'm going to do it like this because you're walking it back right now, so I'm going to
Yeah, I changed the angle.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's committing the violence. Violence is bad. We need to stop hurting each other. Peace and love, unity, all that.
Yeah, peace to the world, of course, yes, of course. Yes. And the reason why, the most incredible violence that you would get on the planet and in history comes from men is just simply because men are the stronger, right? And there's no way that women can compete with the type of violence that men are capable of. Now, you have, we would call it good and evil. Let's just go with those words because otherwise, and let's not try to define it. If we talk about the good, we know that the opposite of that is the evil part of it, okay? And that both genders are good and evil, right? You have evil women and you have evil men. The problem is that evil men are not as easily stopped and put in their place as evil women are. Okay? Evil women are much easier to put in their place. They're more conniving, they're more backward, they're more this and that and the other because they have to be, because they're not physically as strong. But if you think about it, then it's just totally normal that the peak that you see in violence in history is obviously from men. All right? And you have to have men that go against that. If you put down men for their strength, if you put them down for, why do you always have to be, glorifying violence? It's not the glorification of violence. It's the glorification of men who stand up against men who use violence to put down everything and everybody. You see what I'm saying? And then other men stand up to that. And of course they have to meet violence with violence because if there's no negotiation possible, if there's nothing that would stop the other person simply by, asking them to, have more compassion, they just laugh in their face, right? Okay? Then you're going to have to meet this violence with violence, and obviously more violence sometimes even. To make clear, look, this is not going to happen. You're going to have to stop. You can't just go on forever. They come to you with a bit of violence and you return a little bit of violence. This can't go on forever, over and back. You're going to have to stop them. And think about that and you will understand why there is such thing as good men using violence to protect what is necessary to protect.
Jazz.
So I guess what were you trying to draw? Like, let's say that, what if we were to grant some of your positions that men commit these crimes more often? What are we supposed to do with that?
Well, this all originated from her protesting. And you guys were just saying, why are you protesting? What do you think you're going to get done? Why does it matter?
Well, So, why does what matter?
Why does her doing what she wants with her free time matter to anybody else? And why, if she is in the streets walking, what does that have to do with anything?
Well, hold on a second. A protest is obviously wants to reach something, wants to change something, wants to initiate something. And that is the question. I mean, it is a valid question. Why are you protesting? What is it that you want to change? Because that's usually why you protest. So I don't see what her actual, problem is here. I don't even understand her problem. Where is the oppression from men to women? Why would you demonstrate? Why would you protest oppression that is not there? Unless you just want to convince other women, like this woman was convinced, that there is still oppression, in the same way as they always lied about it. Why would we protect women and children if we just oppress them? Why would we protect them? What's this about? Why women and children first off the Titanic, like of a sinking ship? Why? Why would you do that?
Hold on, there's a couple different questions smuggled in there, but one, I think that, oftentimes these left-wing protests or protests that originate from more like progressive, liberal, leftist positions, or I guess feminist positions, these are...
Whatever podcast needs more Rachel on regularly. Yes. She was on Joe Rogan there, 2 weeks back, 3 weeks back, not long ago. And after her husband was on, and that was kind of cool. She's the one that kind of gives you the whole actual history of how feminism came about and what feminism was, and even before suffragettes and the whole issue about voting and so on. It was an awesome interview, and she really has studied the whole subject. Now, you will find stuff here and there, of course, but she kind of puts it all together and she compresses the information, so it is a long interview, but it's still nicely compressed so that you get lots and lots of information. And then you can go check it yourself because the information is actually there, but they kind of buried it. And then you find out what a liar feminism actually is, and how it puts these women in those positions. And I think that especially Brian here, Brian Atlas, that's the guy to the left here, that's his show. Just in case you don't know the show, he is actually an incredibly polite person. Now, if you go to Myron Gaines and his personal show and like a Fresh and Fit, it gets a little bit more rough and tough, right? But he's dealing with a lot of black women as well, who are a lot more, let's say, feisty. So the actual story of feminism, the whole way that it came about, the history of it all, is in actual fact a lie. Everything about it is a lie. All these waves of feminism was more or less invented to kind of cover up what was before, because people were getting really pissed off with the whole thing. And now we have women crying on TikTok about, who told me to be a boss babe? Why does society? Now they blame society, where it wasn't society that told them, it was women that told them, okay? And to be boss babes and to follow their careers and to wait till later with children if they want children at all, and children are only some sort of baggage and so on, right? And then they're 30, 35, and now it's not men going after them anymore, and they can't find a man at all to actually have children with. Men don't want them anymore, mostly because of their attitude.
Typically, many times are violent. In any case, though, what are we supposed to draw from these assertions about men?
Draw from the assertions about men?
Well, so
I don't know.
Can I ask you a question?
This is my
so
viewpoint.
Would you be okay? So is this the framework? Men commit these crimes disproportionately. Women are the victims disproportionately. Therefore, we need mass nationwide protests against men?
I think all that matters is it's a demonstration of people coming together to show what they support, like the ICE protests, the No Kings protests.
Wow, I will go back just on her answer, but look at here. What this person wrote here. women privilege is dismissed SA for men. They dismiss it, or dismissing this SA for men because they are in prison. You see, because if we catch a man doing that kind of stuff, we put him in prison, even though it's most likely habitual and occurring on a regular basis. Like, there you go. You demonize men, but most would defend you if they saw you being assaulted in public. That there, I think, is a really cool point. Because it's true. I mean, I don't know, all men that I have ever known or seen on publicly on platforms, if you see a woman being assaulted by a man, you get really pissed off. Remember that woman, Irina Serensky, I think it was Serensky her name was, and last year, who was stabbed in the neck, right, by this black guy in some sort of a public transport. I think it was a tram or it was a bus or whatever. I think it was a tram, a train. And she, and I say black guy, not just a guy, because it's important for the point I'm making. So she was stabbed to death by this black guy, and she was just bleeding out. It was a terrible situation, right? And I really felt for her. And everybody I saw online felt for her. Nobody said she deserved it. Not a person ever. I didn't see one post. And if there is such a post, fuck that person. Okay. Now then there was another picture. Pictures of her from who she is and from before. And then there was one picture of her in a bedroom. And behind her, on the wall or on the door, I think it was, a big poster of Black Lives Matter. She was a leftist. Now that didn't change my feeling about her. It's just, isn't it a strange thing? That she was a Black Lives Matter person, and it didn't help her in the least. Okay? That guy was like let free for all sorts of assault and stuff like that, and he should have been in prison, and he was let out 14 times or something by a female judge who is also black. And then he did this monstrous thing, okay, because she was white. Imagine. Isn't that amazing? Like, isn't that incredible? No, it was a man who did that. Yes, it was a man who did that. Yes, it did. That's what I'm saying. I want to know what kind of man. You don't just talk about men in general. Stop it. Because there's huge differences depending on where you come from and what race you belong to. Just look at the statistics. I'm not going to argue that point.
Protest that is showing that our country is not okay with what's happening, and I think
which is what though? What is the thing that is happening that is not okay?
ICE supporting undocumented immigrants.
What? Hold on a second. Not undocumented immigrants, illegal immigrants. What are you talking about? And they're murderers. Most of them, not all illegal immigrants are murderers, but the ones that they're chasing down. If they find other ones along the way, they take them as well because they're here illegally. What the fuck is all going on with you? You don't want more violence, but then if you throw those people out, those violent people who are not supposed to be here anyway, that's a good way of dealing with that. Come on, like we just go back a tiny little bit just to get this answer because I couldn't shut my mouth there. Wow.
The thing that is happening that is not okay.
ICE supporting undocumented immigrants and then even documented immigrants, deporting them and tearing families. That is not okay.
Hold on, that's a separate thing. We can get into it. But
what? Look at her face. Oh, come on.
Let's stick to the man component.
I don't know.
What you answer then?
We really have to keep talking about men. Okay.
It's pertinent. Go ahead.
Okay. What was your question?
What are you trying to get at by participating? What are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to communicate about men, about women? What are you trying to say?
When I'm protesting.
Are men bad? What are you trying to do?
While protesting? Like, why do I take to the streets and protest?
In general, yeah, sure.
I protest for things that I've personally been through, things my friends have been through.
Okay.
It's empowering. I've had friends, like when I organized like a protest before, I've had friends literally tell me that they felt so empowered, they'd never done something like that. So it's not always about just, this protest is going to change something that I want to change. It's also to say, hey, I believe this thing. And I think that everyone's allowed.
What is the thing that you believe?
I believe in women's rights. I believe that women should not be...
Women's rights. Women should not be what?
Treated unfairly.
Treated unfairly.
Talked about the way they're talked about.
Talked about in a demeaning way.
Even though women mistreat men, even though women talk poorly about men.
Amazing, right? It is just amazing. I sometimes wonder what the hell is even going on here. I mean, where is the compassion for anything, anybody, anywhere? Compassion. Does nobody know anymore what that is, what compassion is? Does nobody even understand anymore? What the hell? I think that these talks are very good, but as you see, it doesn't really change much. They're being indoctrinated, we call it. And that's the kind of stuff that we need to get out of schools. We need to go in there and clean the fuck up. And not indoctrinate the other way around now, right? But let's talk about things for real. Like, for instance, like simple stuff. Like, don't do unto others as you don't want done unto you. Isn't that a very simple thing? The other person is a person, just like yourself. Nobody wants to get hurt. Nobody wants this. Now, we can, we have our problems sometimes and this and that and the other. But the way that I've noticed it, because I'm a guy, I'm a man, and I do have compassion for women and children. And I know that this has been going on through the centuries, that we protected women and we protected children as men. It's an impulse. There's something in us that wants to do this. And we call it compassion, for fuck's sake. And I don't understand where that has gone. Why women, those creatures that we actually, have taught, and we always thought this, that they're the more compassionate. Why did we think that? I mean, look at all of this. Because they cry sooner than men? Because they're more compassionate? No, that's not true, man. That's not necessarily true, because if they cry for themselves, it has nothing to do with compassion. Compassion always goes to the other person. Another thing from feminism is always, you can't love another if you don't love yourself. What the hell are you even talking about? What's this whole thing about loving yourself? And then the explanation has nothing to do with love. It's about taking care of yourself and stuff like that. Come on, man. Yeah, you've become an adult. Well, bravo, And when it comes to compassion, when it comes to stuff like that, like having a feeling for something else, I don't think that we're gonna get people to have a feeling for somebody else as a person. That kind of stuff seems to be really difficult. Now, and I'm sure also that when we talk about compassion, a lot of people don't even know what it means anymore. There's a story in the Bible of the Good Samaritan. I'm sure you've heard of that story, and where it's just, that's where that quote belongs to, when it says, "Treat others as you want to be treated," because that's not morale, right? That's not. You can't use it for morale. It's a saying, a sentence that reflects compassion. If you're in that situation, what would you like to be done? That's why when you give to the poor, for instance, and stuff like that, you do it because if you were poor, you would like to eat too, and you would like to help too, right? From somebody else. That's why do it as you would want it done unto you as well. That's compassion, okay? Morale is don't do unto others as you don't want done unto you. So, I got this little video because I thought, a reflection of compassion. Now, so that we don't get into trouble, we don't get into this strange feeling, well, I don't really like that person and so on. I thought, how about an animal? Having compassion for an animal, so that we get some sort of picture what it means to have compassion. And it's a tiny little video. It's about, it's a couple of minutes long. What is it, like about 8 minutes? We don't have to go through the whole 8 minutes because we'll get the message. But this is the story of a cat, of a little cat, of a cat that comes around and needs help. And I thought, look, let's get a feeling for what compassion is. Now, the music is quite, it does do its job. And there we have it with music and feelings and all the rest of that. I think it's important to get a feel for it. So we're going to end the video with this and just give you the goodbye afterwards. But I mean, this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about compassion. And then let's find the next step, maybe in our own mind, to have compassion with people, okay? Not with the evil, but with people in general. And for women, have compassion with children. Stop killing children, okay? Stop hating men, for God's sakes. Let's have a look at this, just to get a feeling. And, yeah. Wow, what a gorgeous cat. Okay, thanks very much. Where's the rest of our kittens? So only one survived.
coffee up there? Here we go, nice and thick for you. Go on, have a look. Right by the fire. Good girl. Perfect spot.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you one thing. If you didn't feel anything there, your heart has lost all compassion. Okay? It's not that you have to love cats or anything like that. It's the whole thing, right? Even the music, you could say, oh yeah, that's, you're just trying to manipulate my heart. But what about every song in the world that talks about a sad situation? What about all the music and movies and all the rest of that? No, it's something that where you notice that your heart can feel things. Your heart can feel things, and it's possible to understand and to see if something or somebody else is in trouble. It's possible. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. Maybe we could stop. Well, of course, the world won't, but that's what's missing. Compassion. Now, I'm not going to have compassion, of course I'm not, with child rapists or anything in that direction. Of course I'm not. Okay? Maybe you can later, after you punish them. And in fact, it's the child rapist that I would ask for compassion. You know what I mean? For children. Come on. What the hell? This is what this is about. If we don't have any type of compassion for one another, if we're not going to have a look at what is the other person going through, if I don't like it, why should the other person think it's perfect and okay? All right? Then we're on a downward spiral, and we're all going to lose it. So that's just my appeal to you. That's all. So I'm going to leave it at that, and you can think what you want. So what am I going to say? I'm going to tell you the same thing as I always say. God bless you all. Till next time. Bye-bye.